Wow, it's July and a lot of things have happened. Look, like I'm recording this episode on the 3rd of July, and I'm just asking myself, when did we even enter July? We entered July not too long ago, the 1st of July, and now we're running so fast that if I'm not careful, it'll be on the 15th of July again. I don't know when this episode will be coming out in July, but a lot has happened. And when we will enter 2023, and we've moved so fast, and we've gone in the first half of the month, and it's incredible of the year. Sorry, and it's incredible how we've moved so fast. But at the end of the day, I'm asking myself, what have I done? Like I proposed goals. I told myself I was going to do these things and do that things. What have I done? You see, there were two dysfunction within my goals. It was that there was goals of no problem, but there was not a space, there was not a time, there was not a routine for those goals to be done. You know, and one of the things I have strived to do is to create a 30 minutes routine of daily writing. And now setting goals and putting projects will give kind of a purpose and something special to those routine. It's not just sitting down and writing. And for July, there are a lot of goals, there are a lot of things I want to work on, but I'm still sticking on to my Queen 30 challenge. So the whole idea of Queen 30, what's Queen 30? Queen 30 is the 30 30 30 30 into five places. I talked more about this in previous episodes, but the whole idea is I want to write 30 stories, 30 poems, and submit those 30 stories, 30 poems to 30 magazines at least, and get feedback on those stories and poems. And from those feedback on those stories and poems, I can then look and say, oh, based on the feedback, my work is need I need to improve in these ways. How can I work on more specifically on this technique and this area of the writing craft? How can I improve these sections of writing? How can I make those things better? Now, in July, some of my goals in July is I want to get back into writing. Yeah, writing. I should say get back into writing. Another goal I have is I want to get back into reading. Yeah, there are those moments when you read and you just read those things and you just feel this conviction. It's just there, this connection with those words, and you feel you could write those sentences, those kind of stories too. Like it's not like you know how to write those things. You have no idea how to write those things, but you just feel this connection, and you know that you could write it. Like eventually you could write it, but not yet. But you could write it, and I want to get back into this stuff. I want to get to understand what good stories and great stories are again. Right, some now I sit down to write stories, and I'm asking myself, I can't even come up with stories. I can't even write and piece a story together, not even a bad story. And I'm asking myself, what has happened to me? What's happening? Am I okay? Am I really sure I'm okay? Even a poem I don't even know. I can't. Like I've been too gone for me to grasp and hold. So I need to get back into reading to understand, and of course reading is good too. I've missed those days when I used to read and enjoy literature, art. It was beauty. It was just it was fun. It was wonderful. Yeah, it was those days that make me want to get back into writing. And I'll be getting back into reading. I still don't know the strategy, the tactic, but the whole idea is I'll be getting back into reading. I'll find a way to build reading back into my life, and get to read books and read other things too. One of the things I keep telling and I say to myself is when something comes, something leaves. It's just that, except when you have infinite resources that have not been used, then something can come, something doesn't necessarily have to leave. I'll give an example. If I have, let's say, $20 million, and as I am now, I'm using only $5,000 out of the $20 million that I have. I'm using $5,000, and I'm like, okay, we do have a couple of things we need to fix. We do have some expenses we need to take care of. Well, we could spend 100 grand, $100,000. Well, nothing would have to go. The expenses I have settled before will still stay, and I will be able to settle the 100,000 um, expenses without having to reduce anything and still move on. But now in a day, I have 24 hours, and having 24 hours in a day, I there are certain things that need and must be there. Like for example, no matter how my day gets chaotic, I need to sleep. So for some time, maybe a day or two, 3 days, I can say, okay, reduce the number of sleep I get, which is not so good for my health. I can reduce it. But eventually, I would go back to sleeping normally well if I want to live longer. I'm just, I don't know, it's a terrible example, but I hope you get what I mean. Yeah, so sleep has to come in. I have to factor in time for eating. I have to factor in transit time. All these things. Some of them are not so important, but some of them are like they're things that will as long as you move from place to place, as long as the kind of life you live in, they would be there. And so, if I say I want to be reading for 2 hours, well, I've been living my life 24 hours. Those times those 2 hours will be going, I would have to give up other things. Let's say I've watched Netflix and watched a lot of movies. I spend a lot of time chatting and talking with people. I spend a lot of time sleeping. Now not then these there are two kinds of sleep. There's the sleep where the healthy sleeping where you need to rest and relax yourself for yourself 6 to 8 hours depending on your body, and that's you get a good night rest and good night sleep. That's great. But then there is the other sleep, which is the lazy kind of sleep where you sit in the day, there's really nothing to do. There are things to do, but you choose not to do those things, and instead you go to sleep. So instead of doing the work, you just sleep, and that's not really, really, really good. It's not really, really good, but eventually those things will disappear. Like when you spend 2 hours reading, you have to kick out those things. When you watch movies, 2 to 3 movies, 1 hour, 2 hours movies. Well, when you read books, you would have to kick out that out of your time. Now, but some persons have a lot of things that they are doing. It's not like they they are currently working on a couple of things, and it's not like they're wasting their time. No, they're not doing that. In fact, trying to get the night rest sleep to get the complete night rest sleep is a luxury. Well, those people are exceptions. Uh, well, that's where you can factor in audiobooks and other forms of reading into your agenda. So that way you can stack reading on top of what you already do. So, because when we look at our day, most of the things that we do does not really require mental capacity and mental presence. You don't necessarily have to be that present, to do those things. You have to be there. You're doing this stuff, but you can be doing. Like for example, if I'm cooking a meal, I can be listening to an audiobook while cooking a meal. Eh, Yeah, I have to be there. I have to look at but I don't necessarily need to put my brain there, my ear, my attention. You know, I can do other things too. So I look to get back into reading. I also want to make my writing, better and write work so I can share. I can send to magazines. Of course, we would have talked about the options, but I think the whole purpose and the whole idea will come back into is I'll be focusing more on microfiction and micro poems for this month. That's my focus in writing: microfiction and micro poems, microfiction and micro poems. I want to understand the craft. I want to get better at it, and I'll be publishing a lot of blog posts and on the website bewriting.com, and you can go there to check them out. And usually that's just the idea. That's just what I want to do for this month. I want to get better at writing and get better at reading too. It's a vogue idea, but at the end of the month, I would give I don't know what I would call it. On YouTube, you see some bloggers or YouTubers who are testing money making strategies, and usually they do what they call income report videos at the end of the month. So uh, for build writing, I think I would call it goal report, like writing goal report, something like that. I don't know. Maybe we'll work on the idea and the title. So every month I do a writing goal report. Okay, this is what I worked on. This was what I learned, and this was what I'm going to work on for the next month. It's I could separate the video, okay, and say, okay, this is what I worked for this month, and then I have a video where I say this was what I worked on for this other month, and these are the results. This is what I got. And usually the results won't would be will be lagging. That is, if I work on something this month, I might get the results in the next month, depending on what quote on and quotes and quotes what results might be. Okay, I'm really excited for July. I Since I already have writing routine, whatever goals I set, I know the possibilities of those things coming true. Yeah. Thank you once again for listening to Build Writing Podcast. I'm excited. Oh, I said thank you for listening to Build Writing Podcast. Yeah, honestly, if you're not subscribed on whatever platform you're listening, subscribe. And if you would love to join my newsletter to get in the insights even before I publish them on the podcast, then go to buildwriting.com/newsletter and subscribe to the newsletter, and you get every week I'll send you a newsletter of findings and things even before I try them and test them. You get to see them on in my newsletter. Once again, I'll see you in the next episodes.